Hola, ¿cómo estás? This is and I am Been Around the World. Currently in Mexico. I'm on my rooftop patio here in Playa del Carmen, and in today's video we are going to be tackling a subject that may be a little controversial, and that is the police force here in Playa del Carmen, how they present themselves, how they operate, but most importantly is how to keep yourself out of trouble. In an earlier video we were talking about the power of adaptation, how if you're an expat, a traveler, digital nomad, your best weapon in your arsenal is the power to adapt. If you are in an environment that you are unfamiliar with, you have to adapt to it. You can't count on it adapting to you. If you're watching this video, I don't know where you're from, where you're watching this video from, but if you are in your home country, your country of citizenship, country that you call home, if you are in your environment and you see anything that could be improved or could be changed for the better, I fully support your right to go on a crusade if you have to change the environment around you for the betterment of everybody, to make a positive change. However, if you are a traveler, if you're passing through a country, you're only going to be there for such a certain amount of time. Don't try to change your environment. You have to adapt. And with that being said, when you come to Playa del Carmen, it probably will not take you very long to notice the police force. Now, where I come from, Buffalo, New York, the police usually run one police officer per vehicle, and that police officer will have a sidearm, a handgun on the side. Here in Playa del Carmen, it's not uncommon for the cops, when they roll out deep. Maybe driving around in a truck, two in the front, and then in the bed you'll have maybe four other officers, and it's not uncommon for them to have really big guns, assault rifles, shotguns, things of that nature. Also very unfamiliar to me, and you know, they will be presented in a much more military manner, military gear, with their faces obscured. I have a feeling that doesn't have much to do with just the COVID and health regulations. I feel like that's probably how it is all around. So they are much more militarized. And that can be intimidating, but it's not necessarily something that you should be worried about as long as you take the proper steps to keep yourself out of trouble. Now, if you come to Playa del Carmen, you will hear stories. People getting randomly shook down by the police, getting stopped, getting searched, getting robbed, even getting roughed up a little bit. You will hear those stories. But I've met people who've lived in Playa del Carmen 10 years and never had any sort of negative run-ins with the law. So I'm not going to comment on how they should behave, how they should operate. You know, that's something that's beyond me. And again, I am a visitor here. I'm not about to go on a crusade and say what should and shouldn't be and make the decisions of how things should play out here. No, it's my job to keep myself safe, and it's your job to keep yourself safe. You travel, you make friends. There's the police that are, it's their job to make everybody safe, and you think you can count on your friends if you need them, but at the end of the day, the one person that you have to trust of everything is yourself. So you have to be mindful of the decisions that you make. So with that being said, I'm going to tell you about my experiences with the police and things that I could have done differently to keep myself out of trouble. So in my first 7 weeks here in Playa del Carmen, I have had 3 run-ins with the police. Every time I would be walking down the street relatively late at night, and then they would stop me. The first time that I got stopped, I was coming home from a karaoke bar, going home, and the cops stopped me. They didn't search me, they just asked me a few questions, what my name was. They asked if I have identification, but they didn't ask for it. They asked where I was coming from, where I was going, and they told me to be on my way. The second time I had in a run-in with the police, I was coming home from the same karaoke bar kind of late at night, and they stopped me and they searched me. And I had a feeling it was going to happen. I just felt the vibe. I felt that they were going to give me an extra hard time that night. They asked if I had drugs. I did not. They searched me. They searched my pockets. Nothing too, they didn't manhandle me. They'd go through my pockets, take everything out. They found nothing, no contraband, no drugs, any illicit substance, anything like that. They gave me everything back, and they told me to be on my way. And despite there being 4 or 5 of them, and them having the weapons that they did, which, in their defense, they never did draw on me at all. I never felt I was being threatened with like physical violence, despite actually being searched against my will. But they do it. They're kind of lighthearted when they do it. They do it with a smile. But they returned everything to me. They said, "You have no drugs. There's no problem. You can be on your way." The third time that I had a run-in with the police, it was on like a Wednesday or a Thursday. It was still pretty early. It was like 10:30, and I was actually leaving my apartment. I was literally just a few blocks from my apartment. I live on 38th Street. Was going to 10th Avenue, and I didn't even make it to 10th Avenue. It's just a couple blocks away before I got stopped by the cops. And despite it being still pretty early, there wasn't really anybody else around. So maybe they saw, a lone white boy from America, thought maybe dollar signs, didn't see anybody around, and they thought, hey, we can really quickly give this guy a hard time, make a quick buck, and rob him, and be on our way. And that's basically what happened. They did use the justification of searching me for drugs. So they stopped me. They asked me a few questions. I realized I was about to be searched. I complied. They searched me again, found no drugs on me, and then they returned what I thought was everything. And they returned everything into my pockets. I actually originally thought that they had stolen my cell phone. I patted myself down to make sure I had everything and I didn't feel my cell phone, but they slid it in the same pocket as my wallet, so I didn't realize it was there right away. When I realized I still had my phone and they didn't steal that from me, with a big goofy grin on my face, I thanked the police for giving me a hard time, big smile, and I went on my way. And it wasn't until another block walking away that I had the idea that maybe I should check my wallet. So checked my wallet, and they didn't steal all my money. They did short it by about 400 pesos. 400 pesos is about $20 American, so wasn't like they took a fortune from me, but from my understanding, the cops don't make a lot of money. I'm not saying that's a good justification, but I'm sure that has a lot to do with it. So, obviously that's not the way I wanted things to go down. I do think things should be different, but as I keep stressing in this video, it's not my job to change my surroundings. It's my job to change myself, to adapt to my surroundings. So things I could have done a little differently. If you're going out at night, if you're going to be rolling solo and you're going to make yourself an easy target, if you can't walk down the more main streets, don't take the side streets where there's not a lot of people. If you can, get there by the open streets with a lot of traffic, so at least there's people around. And if you can't do that, take a cab. Taxis are everywhere. Cabs are everywhere. You can call them, you can wave them down, I could step out of my house, I bet you I could have a cab in 1 minute if I wanted to. They're everywhere, and they're cheap. I said in a previous video, cabs are about 40-50 pesos no matter where you're going in Playa del Carmen. Go anywhere in Playa del Carmen for 40 or 50 pesos, and that comes to about $2, $2.50. So transportation is cheap. Also be careful what you have on you. Obviously they use the justification for we're searching for drugs, but so don't have drugs on you. I'm not your mom, but don't have drugs on you. No, don't do it. But also what you have in your wallet. I never leave the house with more than 500 pesos, unless I think that I'm going to need more for some specific reason. 500 pesos is like $25, and I know that's not a lot of money, but if you're going out for a night in Playa del Carmen, you don't need a lot of money. Things are cheap if you do it right. So be mindful of how much money you have on you, and also your credit cards and bank cards. If you don't think you're going to need them, keep them at home. In fact, I insist, just keep your cards at home. Deal with cash. In a later video, I'll teach you the best way to get a hold of cash and without getting screwed on the exchange rates. So get yourself some pesos. Keep your bank. If you have a safe in your apartment, and a lot of them do down here, you know, bank cards, credit cards, and the bulk of your cash. Only take what you need, because if you do get a run-in with the cops, if they do stop you, you know, there's a chance. I don't know what that percentage is, but you know, the 7 weeks that I've been here, I was robbed by the cops once. So it does happen. And you know, I didn't mention that if you talk to people, you will hear stories of more extreme circumstances. I can't, you know, I can't attest to their validity. I can just tell you what's happened to me. And I do know that sometimes the police maybe don't behave the way they should. But again, there's only very limited options what you can do to change that. You're gonna go down to the precinct and log a complaint with the guy who just robbed you, or you're gonna take the $20 loss and go about your way. So, again, adapt to your surroundings. Don't count on it adapting to you. I'm not gonna go too much more on the police, you know, just while you're down here, keep yourself out of trouble. That's what they're looking for. They're looking for people to cause trouble. And those are the people who are going to get in trouble by them. So, you know, and I'm not saying any of this to scare you. Like, I walk by the police all the time, business as usual. You know, usually it's not a problem. But just keep yourself safe and be mindful of what you have on you, and how you're presenting yourself, and what time of day it is. You know, if it's really late at night, like I said, call a cab. It's cheap. It's going to get you home safe and quick, and everything will be fine. So, with all that being said, I think that's about it for this video. I will remind you one more time to keep yourself safe, and I will see you next time. Adios.